Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. One thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. Today, we are going to chat to an incredibly brave woman. Theophila Pratt was born with the name Honey Faithful in the fundamentalist Christian community of Gloriavale, but Theo never fit in. She found herself questioning the world she was living in. She rebelled, she changed her name, and at 18 she left. Having no knowledge or understanding of the outside world, Theo's mum dropped her at a bus stop and left her to fend for herself. Theo has shared her story and I hope it will help the woman in Gloriavale and bring those in power to account and educate us all a little bit as well. Her new book is called Unveiled, A Story of Surviving Gloriavale. Theophila, and shall I call you Theo? How's that?
Yeah, call me Theo, yeah.
Yeah, you like Theo? Thank you so much for joining me today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to get to the book, we're going to get to you, but let's ease in. What's top of the bucket list at the moment?
Go to Japan.
Someone said that to me the other day as well. I've never been to Japan, so I get that completely. And do you think it's because it's just such a different culture?
Yeah, definitely. Just experiencing the different cultures and the food and, travel.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm definitely a morning person.
Yeah. I think I was in bed about 8:30 last night. Okay, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Probably Canada.
Oh, you're beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So, Theo, I want to start with your story, which I can't imagine is easy for you to share. And then I'd love to chat about how we can understand and help the people of Gloriavale and what we as the public need to do. And I suppose as an ex-politician, I might be able to help out a little bit as well. So tell me, take the listeners back to the early days and what Gloriavale was really like for you as a child.
Like, in terms of my childhood, it was, I guess, the typical sort of like farming life, being outdoors, milk, like feeding lambs and that sort of thing. But then overriding all of that was fear, and the fear of going to hell and the fear of disobeying Neville Cooper sort of always hung over your life from a very young age. And I think probably the moment that you sort of realise like the severity of being under Neville Cooper is the day that you start wearing a head covering at the age of 5 when you go to school, and it's almost like you're, I guess in a way it's giving power to him and what he believes in, and you sort of feel that sense of duty when you start wearing a headscarf.
What's expected of children? What are you expected to work? You sort of say in the book that you eat separately most of the time, and not so much with your own family, but with everybody from the community. And like, there's a lot of children there, right?
Yeah, lots of children. I think the role for children is to be seen and not heard, but at the same time go along with like whatever Neville did. Like, he would get the brass band playing and he would lead all the kids dancing around the hostels and like things like that. He tried to make it fun, but also when it came down to things, you almost had to act like you didn't exist.
And did you have much to do with Neville Cooper? Did you see a lot of him? Did he, he was around obviously all the time?
He was always around, and one of his sons was in my class growing up, so he often would pop in to see how his son was going and, try and he was sort of involved that way. Like, in school he would turn up to our classes randomly, or in high school he would come and, preach to us. But he was always sort of around because his son was in my class.
Were you scared of him?
Very scared of him.
And he sounds unpredictable. Is that right? You know, like you get this sort of, you know, joyous man that's, with a brass band and dancing. And then the next thing, you know, you sort of expressed that he could be shouting and belittling people. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Like 1 minute he'll be happy and praising God, and the next he was screaming and yelling at someone. And, you never knew what he was going to be like.
Your dad struggled with his mental health and your mother put up with a lot. You know, what impact do you think that had on the family?
Huge impact in terms of, like, us being a family. And, like, we didn't really talk to each other. I think we all tried to survive and help our mum as much as we could.
But you couldn't really talk to each other about your feelings and what was going on too much either, could you? Because it just would go straight back to the leaders and then there'd be some form of punishment.
Yeah, definitely. Like, as I got older, a lot of my siblings either, like, became full, like, do whatever Neville said, trying to, like, get themselves higher in the hierarchy system. So then that was when it became very clear to me that I couldn't trust them. Like, I couldn't tell them anything because they were going to report me, or their wives, like, might report me. So that was very, I guess, a big part of it too.
It sounds really isolating, and it sounds, you know, you had a lot going on. You were a bit rebellious, which I like, by the way. Got it in me too, trust me. And, you know, in the light of that, you know, you sort of, you didn't have anyone that you could really speak to. You just knew you didn't fit and it wasn't you. But how could you express that? And I mean, you changed your name. That's brave. Yeah. Did you change your name while you were in there?
Yeah, I changed my name at 16.
Wow.
I just decided one day to, and then one of the leaders that were in the Shepherds and Servants said yes to it. And so then Neville had to, like, approve because he couldn't really say that one of the leaders was wrong. And so then that's how I got to changing my name, and I'd stand up in front of everyone on the Sunday night meeting and say that I was changing my name. But, yeah, it was a big deal. But I had to fight for it to be changed legally. They weren't going to let me.
So why did you change your name? I mean, you know, you fought hard. Yeah, went to battle for it. Why was it so important to you?
It was important to me because the word honey didn't match who I was. Like, I wasn't the sweet, submissive person they wanted me to be. And as well as that, I was bullied and, like, sexualized by a lot of, like, men growing up in terms of that word. And a lot of husbands called their wives honey, and it used to just confuse me as well. But my name used to be sexualized a lot by married men, and that was, like, ultimately the biggest sort of thing that I just wanted to get away from.
Oh, yeah, that's awful. Absolutely awful. So talk me through 18 and you say you're going.
Happened very quickly. Like, I knew that I was going to leave eventually. Someone had come in that had left Gloriavale previously, and the people in the community were trying to find them, like the leaders and the men were trying to find them on the property. And I was friends with this person, and I got asked where they were. And I just said, oh, I don't know, but if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway. And then that just blew up. And next minute, Neville was coming to me and screaming, and he sent, like, a whole lot of different, like, leaders to come and talk to me. And then I was sent to my room, and within 2 days, they pretty much said to me, we want you to sign the commitment to prove that you're going to submit to us, or you've got to leave. And then, yeah, I wasn't going to sign it, so I was gone the next day.
So talk us through that then. So you literally had you been on a bus before? Had you caught a bus before?
Absolutely not. I didn't even know what a bus stop was.
No. Did you have money? Did you, so you got given a little bit of money or something, or?
They gave me $200 in an envelope. I didn't have any ID or a phone. I was just dropped at the bus stop with printed out airfares to Auckland.
Wow.
And, yeah, so that was the 5-hour drive on the bus from Greymouth over to Christchurch, and all just went from there.
Your mum's literally taking you to the bus stop. What was the goodbye with her like?
My mum, I guess, for her, she wanted me to do what I wanted to do, but at the same time, she was worried about my soul going to hell. And her words to me was that by leaving, you're damning your soul to hell. And that was sort of the last thing she said to me when I got on the bus.
Wow, so you're with the family friends in Auckland. I mean, what on earth were those first few weeks like? I mean, as you say, you didn't have ID, you didn't have a phone. Going to the shops and choosing what you would eat, and I mean, it just must have been so different for you to get your head around.
So different, like a complete culture shock. Even though I hadn't left the country I was born into. But, going to the mall, like Sylvia Park was my local mall, so just like going around and looking at the shops was like a big enough culture shock for me. But, also getting ID and getting a phone was like a really big part of it. And then my mum's friend also like showed me around like where my mum grew up and things like that, which sort of helped me like feel a connection to Auckland, and then also just know that there was another world outside of Gloriavale.
And I mean, so the practical things would be hard enough, but it must have felt like this big world just kind of coming at you all at once. Could you just sort of slow down and take it day by day?
Yeah, the funny thing is though, that everything was really like crazy around me, like in terms of what I was seeing and experiencing. But I had been used to getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and working till 7 at night. And I just did not know what to do with my time. So that part felt really strange, like mentally, like I was just used to working. And then all of a sudden I had this free time, and I was like, I had to sit there and think about like what had just happened. what I had just done. But that part of it really got me. Like I just felt lazy and felt weird.
Because you'd never had time, right? Your time wasn't your own. Your time was dictated by adults as to what you would be doing that day. And all of a sudden, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, Theo, I mean, you're a baby. I know you'd been through so much, but, you're just, I just can't even fathom, you'd been isolated anyway, and then just how absolutely frightening to be entering a world that you just had no idea how it worked.
Literally did not have any idea.
Wow. You've had other siblings leave though, haven't you?
Yes, over the years, a couple of my sisters have left, and one of my older brothers had previously left before me.
So talk me through those first few weeks. So you landed in Auckland and you did have family here?
Yes, my mum's friend from school picked me up, and I lived with her and her husband, and then, so I just started again that way.
Wow. And you went to university?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, good. We're going to talk a bit about that because I want to hear a bit about the career and where you're at now. We need to talk about your sister, Precious, who's in India, and we need to do that as much because I want to help put some pressure on out there that we do get some change for her. So explain to people that don't know and haven't read the book how she's ended up in India and what her life is like.
Neville created a community in South India, and through that he raised an Indian young man over in New Zealand in order for him to be the person that runs the community over in India. And with that, he sent 5 women over there at different times to marry Indian men. And my sister was one of them. So she left New Zealand in 2012. She had just turned 19 and was sent to marry this man with polio. And she's been there ever since.
My goodness. And she's got, she's got 6 children?
Yeah, she's about to have her 7th child.
Wow. And so you went and visited, because, you wanted to see the conditions that she was in, and actually get an understanding of what was going on. I mean, what was that like for you and for her?
Visiting there a couple of years ago, I really opened up, I guess, what her day-to-day life was. And, I knew it was going to be bad, but it was just horrendous. Where they were living, the environment, and just the psychological damage that was happening over there, and turning up like she had no idea I was coming. So it was a bit of shock, and it was good just to catch up. But at the same time, as I saw her, I just looked and I was like, this is not the sister I remember at all. Like, she looks like a zombie, like she wasn't who I remembered at all as a person.
But Theo, it's hard for us that haven't lived it to understand, but I'm trying to understand, but that psychological abuse and physical and sexual abuse that's gone on within the community and that sort of thing, but that psychological abuse is just extreme. But she's equally got no options whatsoever. She doesn't have access to a passport. Most of her children don't have birth certificates. I mean, even if she got through the psychological, abuse of being in a cult, and thought she wanted to leave, she has no means to leave. She's effectively being human trafficked.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, she's being human trafficked. And yeah, it made me realise that when I left, that was easy compared to what she physically has to do to be able to leave India. If she ever wanted to leave Gloriavale, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah, so it's one of our jobs is to try and keep that pressure on and try and look for ways that we can support her, because she's a New Zealander. She's us.
Yes, exactly.
And she deserves the same rights as us.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, I want to hear much more, but when we come back, we're going to talk about why you're sharing your story and how we can better understand those in Gloriavale and what we need to do to actually help. Welcome back to Ask Me Anything. My guest today is Theophila Pratt, and 8 years ago Theo left fundamentalist Christian community Gloriavale and has shared his story in a new book called Unveiled, a story of surviving Gloriavale. Can I start, Theo, by just saying you write beautifully?
Thank you.
No, I mean that. Like, it's, you took us through a journey. The way it was structured was just made sense. It was, as much as a lot of it was horrifying, to be quite blunt, that you had lived that kind of life. But your story of survival was quite something. But I do think that you laid it out and you wrote it really well. Have you always liked writing?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I love writing, and it was sort of what got me through those lonely times in Gloriavale.
So why are you speaking out now? Because it is hard, eh? Like, everyone's, are we as the public a bit bloody voyeurism, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just and then we're going to talk more about it and what we need to do and not judging people. But what made you write the book?
I've always wanted to write the book, but what sort of made me do it now was, I think, being in the public eye with the doco last year and having a few other media stories done. I really wanted to own my story myself and write it in a way that I felt heard. And then, I've finished uni and 4 years out working, and I just felt like it was the right time to put it together.
Is it hard to reveal so much of yourself? You're wonderfully blunt and honest in the book.
I am. It is hard, but I think that's like part of who I am. And I think if it helps another young woman find her voice, then it's worth it.
And you did the documentary that you mentioned, Escaping Utopia, last year. So how has that been received? And are you recognised more, or, can you sort of get on with your day and not be recognised?
It has been, I think it's made a big impact on the public and getting people talking. and trying to find a way for my sister to be brought back from India. So that part of it's been amazing. But yeah, definitely people in the public sort of look at you twice, and like working as a health professional, it's been interesting that people notice you and start asking questions. But I think the more conversations that can be had from the documentary and from my book, the better. Like the more we keep talking about it and not letting it just be pushed down and not talked about anymore, the better. So yeah, if it starts a conversation, I think it's worth it.
Oh, good on you. And there'll be people out there, not just from Gloriavale, but in all walks of life that, don't feel they've got a voice and are scared to speak out.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
I think just that being them is important, and their voice always deserves to be heard, no matter what.
Yeah, good on you, good on you. So people do have definite perceptions about Gloriavale, and there is some sort of weird fascination, I think. How do you cope with that, and what message would you like us to give to the public when they meet someone that might have been from Gloriavale, and how we should approach them? And you say we've got lots of questions. Here I am giving you lots of questions. But in that space, if I met you, in a cafe, it's probably not what I should sort of launch into, is it?
I think just the normal questions like how's it going, what have you been up to, that sort of thing. I think if you can build that trust and just have a conversation without deep diving right into what's happening in Gloriavale, then that sort of helps people from Gloriavale just relax and know that them being them for them is fine. Like they don't always have to be attached to Gloriavale. Like they're still individual people that have hobbies and a life and careers.
Yeah, you sort of say nicely in the book where you sort of say, I am more than where I came from. And yeah. I don't think that people always see that, do they?
No. So
you want us to treat you as the individual that you are, have a genuine interest in your life. And I imagine there's things that you don't want to talk about because there has been abuse, for you in the past. And so, we don't want to be triggering that for you.
No, I think, with a lot of the court cases, it can be very triggering in terms of like people want to get on with their lives and like they might put a bit of time towards court cases and things like that, but sometimes people are avoiding knowing about them as well. So I think just asking them like how their family is and things like that is fine, but when it goes into details about what's happening in terms of regulation stuff, that can be quite triggering, I think.
What would you say to some of those that are still in Gloriavale? I mean, you put it quite eloquently, I thought, when you sort of said, because of the indoctrination and the cult and how it's so controlled, that effectively they're living to die. And you could see it with Precious, because they so believe that is the utopia, isn't it? That's the sort of dream. Whereas I imagine what I get from you is that you're living to live.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so what would you say to them in Gloriavale that are genuinely scared and don't know what's out there in the outside world?
I would say to them that the world is so much bigger than Gloriavale, and like it's okay to ask questions, and life is more than just surviving. Like God put us on this earth to have imaginations and to have hobbies and to live and enjoy it, not just survive. And life can be fun. It doesn't just have to be work. And you can ask questions, you can be you, and being you's okay.
So in terms of help in dealing with what is happening in Gloriavale, I mean, you went to the police, did you?
Yeah, I went to the police in 2018.
And was it hard? And what did you tell them? What were you hoping they would do?
I think I was just hoping to be heard. Going to the police is something that I wish I could have done as a young person. There was no way to ring police or get help within Gloriavale. So finally being able to do that was like a big relief. And then from that, it was pretty much if I could stop another young person from being sexually abused and just abused within Gloriavale. That was my purpose of doing it. Just to keep the police open what it's really like for kids in Gloriavale growing up.
Because there's been a number of court cases, right? I mean, we certainly saw that Neville Cooper was jailed for a while. We've seen some of the other leaders coming under scrutiny and going through the courts as well. Do you think there needs to be more of that? Do you think that we, as New Zealanders, take it seriously enough?
I don't think it can always be taken more serious. The lifelong effect it's going to have on the children that are in there now is huge, and it's forever. And the sooner those young people have access to the wider world and can get away from that toxic environment, the better. And I think there's so much more that could be done.
And in that context as well, we saw the court case which was around whether it was voluntary work or whether or not they should be in paid work, and that was upheld that they should be in paid work. And that could potentially cost Gloriavale, millions and millions of dollars, which it should. Is there other avenues like that people can explore to help you with?
Yeah, that's still ongoing, those court cases. I think keeping up to date with all of that and supporting the lawyers that are doing the court cases is great. And then, I think what people can do within their local communities is keep writing emails to their local MPs and keep asking questions about what's happening.
Yeah, and you've been, I certainly saw in the documentary that you had spoken to some of the human rights lawyers in particular about Precious in India. Is there any sort of progress or any ways that people are thinking we can work our way through that?
Yeah, the police and MB are taking it very seriously, and they've moved the case to Wellington. So there seems to be some progress. I mean, obviously it's always slower than we want it to be, but Deborah Manning's keeping on putting the pressure on them and keeping in communication, and it's still ongoing.
Well, those children are Kiwis as well, and there is, there's an international human rights of the child. And so in that respect, it's obviously about your sister, but about your nieces and nephews too, who, by the way, looked gorgeous.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Yeah, exactly. Those kids don't know the local language. They're not going to proper schooling. There's just no future for them in India, and their rights deserve to be heard and listened to and given back to them.
So for us out here, it's keep the pressure on our members of parliament, making sure that they're aware of it. Look at ways there might even be some form of financial help. I'm sure that those that are helping people to leave Gloriavale are probably doing it, I imagine, on no money and volunteer money and all the rest of it. So I'm sure that there'd be ways that we could financially help and support as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, where are you at now? So I loved the, we won't do the last chapter because I hope there's a lot more for you. I want to hear more in the future, thanks. But you are a qualified occupational therapist and you've bought a house.
Yeah.
That's huge, eh?
Yeah. Owning a home is very special, and also being educated is amazing and very empowering.
Yeah. So are you working? You said you were working in the health sector?
Yeah, so I have the privilege of working with youth in South Auckland with medical conditions, helping them back into school and accessing education. So working for Kids First.
Yeah. And where's life at? I mean, so what's next?
Well, hoping to travel a lot more and just building my career.
So Theo, where are your family at now and what sort of contact? I mean, you have your mother, recently saw her, or was it a couple of years ago now?
No, recently saw her. I supported her with the journey from recovering from a surgery. But yeah, in terms of my father, I don't have anything to do with him. He is in a mental health facility getting support through them. And some of my siblings I talk to, but the ones that are still in Gloriavale, it's hit and miss in terms of whether they will talk to me. and my sister's out of Gloriavale, I have lots of communication with them, which is really cool.
Yeah, and so if one of your siblings knocked on your door or indicated they'd like to come out of there, you'd be there in an instant?
Definitely, always, 100%.
Yeah, good on you. Okay, to end this segment, Theo, I'd like to ask, what do you think is some of the best advice you've ever been given, and who was it given by?
I was asking my friends this question and we were laughing, and I was thinking probably the best advice from the day that I left on that day was the person that helped me at Air New Zealand, helped me get on the plane. Because if I hadn't have got on that plane, I wouldn't be where I am right now. But in general, it's just asking questions and being open to anything, and realising that my world is so much more than Gloriavale and that I can do anything. And I think knowing that and living that is the best advice I was given.
Well, Theo, we wish you every success and happiness. There's absolutely no doubt about it. You deserve it. And I hope that there's a lot more that are in there that want to come out here, and that we can actually welcome and see them live the kind of life that they deserve. The podcast is called Ask Me Anything, and so far I've done all the questions. So this is your opportunity to ask me something if you would like.
Yes, I do actually have a question. It's a bit of a cheeky question, but it is around, I guess, when I left Gloriavale at 18, obviously I had some disadvantages compared to other 18-year-olds out here. But my question is, do you think children within gangs that are that sort of age have the same sort of or worse of a disadvantage trying to recreate their lives outside of gangs?
Oh, I think it would be absolutely terrifying. And it's a bit like with you, it's all that they've known, right? And we shouldn't, not all gang families are the same, but they are more likely to have been around violence. They are more likely to have, had a whole lot of those negative impacts that we see. And so just from that very upbringing, if you're then at the age of 18 trying to make a new direction and do something different, it's already far more difficult for you than it would be from someone that's not. Do you agree? Because are these the kids you're working with?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of these are the kids that I'm working with.
And so what do you think we should be doing more of for them?
More education in terms of families, but also just getting alongside them and working with them. But yeah, I think the kids that are in alternative educations don't have the same rights as kids that are in mainstream. And I think that's where a lot of work can be done.
Mm. Because we see successes, right? We can turn their lives around.
Yeah, 100%. And they have so much to offer the world.
Oh, well, I'm absolutely thrilled that they've got you on their side because you are a staunch advocate and you're a strong woman with a very clear voice and very clear opinions, and we're grateful for that. So, Theo, I just can't thank you enough. Your bravery to leave and just for openly sharing your story. Hey, so Theo's book is called Unveiled, A Story of Surviving Gloriavale, and it's in stores now. And that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. If you have enjoyed this episode, please follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out some of our past guests while you're there. I'll be back next Sunday with another fabulous guest. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.